about that podcast you done with Craig.
Hi there, welcome to a new concept for the channel where you, the viewer, gets to come onto the show and tell me, Houston, we have a problem. I want to hear from you, your community, and the issues you have with the United Kingdom currently. And the only thing I ask you to do is start a conversation with, Houston, we have a problem. When you see the description on YouTube, all you have to do is scroll down the description, click on that link, it'll bring you straight into the studio. From there, I'll invite you up, and you start the conversation with Houston, we have a problem. And we'll see what we can do to help you, your community, and your problems going forward. You never know, it might be my next journey, length and breadth of the UK, to come to your community and cover your issues. So get live, get involved. Houston, we have a problem. Hi folks, welcome to the latest Craig Houston. Houston, we have a problem. Live call-in. We've got three special guests in straight away. And just remember, the reason for this is to try and get you guys involved. So if you're watching on YouTube, into the description, there's a link that will bring you straight into the studio. I'll get a wee ping of me and we'll get you up as soon as we can. If you go on X, again, there should be a link in the description as well. So you'll start it off and please come along, jump in and tell me, Houston, I have a problem, and tell me what's annoying you in the UK today. So we'll get three great guests, two returners and one new. The new guest, Robert, is Django, as you'll see on the screen. We've done two podcasts together so far, one about his career, which started off as a young lad. One of the first things he seen was Lockerbie getting taken down there, and we've done a podcast about that. And the second podcast we've done, which I think Robert's going to talk about tonight, was his time spent in migrant hotels, to give us an inside scoop on that. Stephen is the guy behind the protest in Peterhead that both myself, Kevin and John Water got up to, and a few others on Saturday. And Kev's just a guy that hangs about with us because he's got nothing else to do on a Tuesday. Robert, how are you tonight?
No bad, Craig. Hello to everybody. It's nice to meet you. I'm in Glasgow, former British soldier, and I had a brief spell, very brief spell, in two migrant hotels in London and one just outside Luton.
So, Robert, what when you went to these hotels, what was I mean, you've seen a few things in your life in the armed forces, so I don't think much would shock you. But what was the sort of biggest thing that you thought this isn't right during that time working in a migrant hotel?
The first hotel that I went to, I was in between jobs and I got the offer to work down there. And I didn't really want to go for obvious reasons, but I was also curious to find out what was going on. So the first hotel I was sent to was in Hounslow, West London, and that was a family hotel. There wasn't really much to see there. And then, but it wasn't what we were getting told. There was families there, but there was pensioners, there was young guys, there was people from European countries there as well as the Middle East and Africa, people from all over. And then we all get split up, and I get moved to a hotel outside Luton, and that was to be a single men's hotel. And we got there right as the ramp up was starting for the hotel, when the Home Office and the companies that were financing, facilitating the hotels for the people that were coming in. And I started to notice as we were waiting, I was hearing rumours that there was other hotels coming in, and the prices they were paying was £50 a head, 3 a room. Some hotels with 100 rooms, 65 rooms, all these guys, all these money. And then they said the Home Office was coming down, and I was on permanent night shift in London. And the Home Office, I didn't have much to do with because it was night shift. And then they appeared at the hotel outside Luton. And none of them were indigenous British. If anything, they were Middle Eastern appearance. And I felt then it was time to bug out because I didn't want to be any part of this anymore. And I was hoping that something would have been done about this. But that was 3 years ago that I was in the hotels. And I can remember the first batch of asylum seekers, migrant refugees arriving in Glasgow in 1995. So this isn't a new phase. This has been going on for years, gradually filling up places. And now, after successive British governments since 1997 have been run by the civil service, we don't have a government in this country. We've got something else. And this is what's facilitating the enormous numbers that are coming in. This isn't humanitarian aid or anything. This is something else, Craig. It's been going on for too long and nothing's happening. Successive governments haven't done nothing because I believe the civil service is running the country. No British government would tolerate this.
Do you know, I found weird, Robert, when I was down in Reading one Christmas and we popped along to see you for a wee bit when you were working at the one.
Yeah, but I brought you into the place.
Yeah. At least there was some British employees there, you know. But when you see these odd videos, there's none now. The security staff seems to be all foreign. I mean, I was watching the one you sent me today from up in Perth with AY Audits, and everybody you spoke to sounded foreign, certainly foreign accents. And
I mean, but I remember, Craig, sorry for breaking in. I remember when I first applied for my SIE licence just to stand in a pub door in Glasgow. My mate said to me, this is them starting to have some sort of home guard or police force. Now, I just laughed at it that day. But coming back to that, when I dealt with the SIE at first, and I'm sure numerous viewers could confirm this, most of it was either done over the phone or by post with an office in Liverpool. All of a sudden, it's all digital. You don't know who's getting your details. And you're meant to have 5-year checks to work in the UK. Some of the security guards in the hotel in Hounslow came from the near Far East, i.e. Afghanistan. They'd only been there less than a year, and they all had SIE cards. So who was issuing the SIE cards to people with no checks? It's one thing after the other. And I think
that just doesn't sound logical.
No, it's as if we're living in a parrot.
Did you say 3 years or 5 years of checks?
I think it's your work history to get a normal job in the UK is a 5-year check. I don't know how far back the checks for the SIE would be, but if you're employing somebody in a security role, you're going to give them quite deep checks, Disclosure Scotland or whatever. So who done the checks on these guys that can't speak English that are working on the doors now? Where did they get their SIE badges from? And I guarantee if you look at them, the badge lasts for 3 years, I believe, before you need to renew it. I guarantee you the majority of their badges will be 2027 or 2028 for the renewal. Because they're just getting flung out like a sausage factory. I don't really know if anybody wants to add to that.
Well, Kevin's spending a lot of time recently around about the migrant hotels. Kevin's spending a lot of time recently around the migrant hotels. He might as well getting a job in them, Kev.
I know. I mean, I'm obviously I had to scooter off the road there because I was waiting for the service, but I got service today, so my plan is to get back out on the road and go and check some of the hotels that people have been sending me to check out. There is one I want to go back and revisit. The reason I want to revisit it is because there's hundreds of e-bikes right outside the front door of it, which would suggest that these people are actually working. Now, they shouldn't be working if they're here as asylum seekers or illegal migrants. Then they've got no rights to work in this country at this moment in time. So I want to get a video of that and then highlight this to put that out so everybody can see it. But it was just something that you had said to me, Craig, before. I'm not. It was something I was thinking about, and I think Alec had mentioned something to me as well about a couple of things as well.
Oh, sorry to butt in, Kev. 2-0 the Rangers.
I know. I've seen.
Sorry, I know you're interested.
I've got them on my cooking phone. They better win the night. They let me down for £70 at the weekend, the bastards. Anyway, sorry to interrupt you. Anyway, aye. So one of the things that I was thinking about doing in the future is any of these hotels that I do find out that are actually housing migrants and are on that website on my doorstep, I'm going to actually do what you told me today, was look up the land registry. And I'm not only just going to expose the hotel, but I'm going to expose the owner of the hotel as well. Because at the end of the day, they're lining their pockets at the expense of the communities that they're putting in the harm's way. Do you know what I mean? Because we know that these hotels are they're causing problems. Do you know what I mean? We've seen the evidence. Is, you know what I mean? You've seen that one in the Falkirk. That's I mean, I'll not say it on the show, but the one in Falkirk where there was a 15-year-old boy and a 12-year-old lassie raped. For people within that hotel, and whoever owns that hotel needs to be exposed, because at the end of the day, they're just lining their own pockets just for the sake they're not even born about the people about them. So, I mean, it's just been listening to people like yourself, as I said the other night there, following you for a good couple of years, just watching you getting a bit. I mean, when I first started watching you, you were just doing a couple of 10-minute moans a day, but now you're starting to get more and more active. Obviously, I seen the podcast with Rab, which was probably one of my favourites. But no, for the reason that because it was brilliant. Do you know what I mean? It was just a harrowing podcast to listen to, like Rab's stories. Do you know what I mean? And obviously you've been on GB News. You're putting yourself right in harm's way by going to Ballymena, not necessarily Ballymena, but more so Cali, and then latest one Lesbos, and knowing that you've got more trips booked and planned. I think people need to just start realising you're doing a wee bit more than what most people are doing, and that's everybody's going to try and find something to just fight back. And obviously you've got Stevie Boy here tonight, and Peterhead's the starting point. Aberdeen showed the way last week. Peterhead will show it this Saturday.
Well, see, on that, mate, you're talking about Lesbos. I can't believe it. I need to say it again, right? Before I went to Lesbos, I was working it out, and I thought, it's going to cost me probably about £700-800. By the time I got out there and I'd fuel and all that nonsense, it's probably about £1,000 I spent. And I put out buy me a coffee thing. And I thought, if I get £300 or £400, that'll be great. It'll help towards the costs. Mate, it's blown that. It's actually, I've got a kitty to start the next one already. And it's just blown me away, the generosity of people. And, I don't know half of these people. I don't know the majority of them, but I think there's about 100 odd people had put in money to this go buy me a coffee thing. So what I do is, when you leave a donation, you can send them a wee video message. And I've been saying to the last lot, like that, I believe that kind of thing. By the time you draw the money out, it'll then work out the exchange rate because it sits in dollars. But I kind of think it's broke the costs on that, and it's just blowing my mind how generous people are. So anybody that's putting that in now, I've already get the. What, sorry?
Sorry, mate. Sorry for interrupting there, but the thing, I mean, Craig, you're a humble guy, right? And I listen to John Watt's the same, never asked for a penny. Alec for Spartan, never asked for a penny. And he's got them dates. So if people can help and they want to help, then do you know what? At least it's going to fund further trips for you. I mean, these things didn't cost a couple of £. I mean, this is the thing that people don't realise, that when you're actually physically out there trying to do something, there is a cost implication to it. You know what I mean? It does cost money. So at the end of the day, I mean, if people are willing to put into your coffers, then do you know what, mate? It's just because they appreciate the work they're doing, and they're just trying to show you a bit of support. That's what you've got to take it as.
No, it was humbling. And I was looking, what was I looking for the other night? Yeah. I've got 3 trips planned, one of them's another migrant entry point, so I'll maybe not do that one next because it'll be similar to Lesbos. I want to go to the place in Europe that's the worst for the effect that illegal immigration's had on society with crime and stuff. I want to go and report for there and talk to people there about how it's affecting their lives. And I want to go to Israel, and I want to talk to Muslims and Christians and Jews. I don't want to just go and get a one-sided story there. And what I want to do with that is the media are very good at telling us how this thing's been for people that live in Gaza, which I think is amazing because there's no journalists in Gaza, but they're managed to tell us, how the life is for the people, the normal people in Gaza. I kind of want to know what it's like for the normal people in Israel. So that's the ones I've got planned. But the other night, I was talking to Alan the other night, for the Palomino, and I didn't realise there was still stuff going on there. And I said, I thought myself, jump over and see him. And I was looking at flights Thursday and Friday, and then I remembered them at court on Friday. So I thought, no bother, I'll try and get away the following week. But having that there now, it's just great because, if I need a couple of £100 or whatever it is, I'll not actually get out to Belfast, having a car, maybe stay for a night this time. The money's there. And it's absolutely amazing. And I can't thank people enough. But you kind of knew more about my trip to Lesbos than most others, because there was the 2 people I was talking to while I was out about what was going on. While I was over there, what the things that you seen me do, or maybe what's on the video, what sort of got your attention as a guy with a fair amount of armed forces experience?
Well,
Rob, you're talking to.
Aye.
Well, you were there yourself, Craig, and you were hovering about the island here and there. And for such a busy wee island, you couldn't find anything. It was as if everything was happening, but we just couldn't pin down whatever was going on. It's a very, very strange place you went to. Must have been very, very spooky, creepy.
It was all the stuff that was happening with the motor dying and the just coming up to the UN place in the middle of nowhere with the dirt track, and the guard that was 100 metres away from it, and the stuff that happened when I was trying to catch up with the Swiss plated cars that I started seeing, and then when I was in the middle of the forest in the dirt track, and I lost all my comms instantly when I was about a mile away from where I was trying to go to. And then, there's daft things happening with coppers and daft things happening at passport control and stuff like that I've not went into. The reason I'm not went into is I didn't think I had to, because the other stuff that I've got documented there, videos that can, help describe the stories that I was telling. But other stuff I didn't, so I didn't. And I thought I put out enough stuff that would make people go, Christ, that's a bit weird out there. And then,
but you also found that UNHCR place, and that was in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
I mean, was that a staging post or something for people going onto another location in the island?
I think it's for folk coming in. I think what I identified when I was close to the sea at sea level, when it's it's like a 3-foot beach, right? So it's not a sunbathing beach, it's all pebbles. And I found clearings, and there's like weeds that were about 8-10 foot tall, and they were cleared for this side. And at 2 of them, there was bits that looked as if there was fire set at the entrance there, between the reeds where the clearance. I mean, the reeds were lying down that way, so they obviously pushed them in from roadside. They've not came through the boats, as if that's maybe where they're guiding them in. And this UN facility that I found, which didn't really tell you what it was other than the logos, it was within 10-15 minutes if you'd a 4 before. Maybe even less than that, actually, 5 or 10 minutes from where this bit was, where it looks to me that's where they're bringing them in under the cover of darkness. So I can only surmise it's something to do with that because of the location, because the other UN place is at the other side of the island, which is a bit I was staying at, where the big asylum centre is just now. So I kind of think that's what that was. Anyway, I've got a couple of things I've highlighted here. A couple of things I've stuck at the side. Andy said, should we not be putting big fines on Uber Eats for these illegal workers? Well, But while Kev was talking about the bikes, I was considering something. See if the Home Office want to get a crackdown on illegal workers who shouldn't be working here. Well, it's dead simple. Go to these hotels, the ones that have got Uber Eats bikes are working here. And just lift them. If nobody says they're theirs, take them away. Just lift them. Because if they're nobody's, then you just try to help people with lost property, aren't you? But they wouldn't do it. But it would be easy. And then Alan said, he was in Perth, he didn't F about. It was great to watch. Robert sent me that video earlier on. Does anybody know when he was in Perth? Was that like today he was in Perth, or was that an old one he's just put out?
Good to tell you,
the guy that sent me it said he'd just go to yesterday, and he was from Perth.
Right.
I've not been on it much today, so I wouldn't be able to comment on that. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. There's Wardgraves has bought 5 Fake Houston Talks 2 memberships on YouTube and put them into that means it will just go to random people that have not got memberships for the channel. So thanks very much for that, Wardgraves. As far as the membership money, the super sticker money, I buy equipment for that and I'm doing up, as you can see. It's not finished, far from it. I've got more stuff coming tomorrow to make this room into a studio. I've been sitting through in that chair through in the living room for 2 years with a laptop on a little, they fold up table to sit your dinner on. See my back, absolutely killing me. So I'm sitting in a proper seat now and I'm getting this done up, and I bought the 3 laptops, I bought cameras, lights, body cameras, loads of stuff, and that's what I use the YouTube money for. So thanks very much for doing that, Lord Graves. So I mean, if he's still up here, I'd love to get together with him and maybe meet up with him. He was on the chat the other night, and I hadn't noticed it, wasn't he, till the live had finished, and I think it was Jen had sent us a screenshot to say, look who was in the chat. There was that much chat, I missed it, or I'd asked him to come up, because he's doing some good work, that lad, doesn't he?
Well, he does some good work, that EY audits.
Mm-hmm.
He's really good at. I follow him. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Though there's a lot of good people out there that doing a lot of good work. Do you know what I mean? I think the awareness is definitely getting raised. I mean, the fact of the matter, I mean, you talk about the Peterhead thing at the weekend, and it goes to show you how much of a threat they think this actually is, that they're calling out posters for counter protesters to turn up at this at the weekend. So that goes to show you they're worried about this one. But on that note as well, I would like to say is any of the counter protesters that are going to that on Saturday, gear your heater rattle and see if you've got a brain. Because if you actually go and read what the poster and the topics are, and you're going to turn up and counter protest against that, there's something far wrong with you. Do you know what I mean? Really is something wrong with you.
Well, we've seen it. Our poster, she was criticised. She was criticised for the Palestinian flags.
It's leaving a flag.
That's the thing. They'll turn up with Palestinian flags, and you're like, who's talking about Palestine here?
She said on our poster, somebody first comment started speaking about Palestine. She's like, I'm not speaking about Palestine. She's like, well, you got your poster's got 2 Palestine flags in it. So it's mental.
Right, so there's Shoab. Remember, Shoab was on Houston. We have a problem. The police is out of control. It's scary to think they can arrest anyone for just having an opinion. Guilty? Well, I'm not guilty, but I'm charged. Friday, Shoab. So you're preaching to the converted here, my friend. It's good to see you. Thanks for popping up. And if you want to come up, grab a mic, feel free. Somebody having a pop at me saying it was early for a change. See, just while I go through these comments, scroll down them. Stevie, do you want to tell us how things are going for your protest on Saturday up in Peterhead?
Aye, and it's gone well. I mean, I don't know if everybody's seen the guys. We've got yourself, obviously. We've got John Watt. Kev's got to be in attendance, so he's got to be a crowd puller.
Okay,
but we've got 2 new guys in. We've got Ryan H, who's obviously standing in for Alex. If you haven't seen him on YouTube or on X, then I suggest you go and look at him because he is a class guy. And then we've got Josh for the Homeland Party as well. He's coming up as a guest speaker. I think he's for the northeast of Scotland anyway, so it's good to get him on board as well. The plans are set out. We'll see what happens in a day. We'll see how many of these counter boys turn up. I'm not expecting many local counter protesters, but we'll see how many of them come in on buses all over, I suppose. But apart from that, it's looking good. We're all ready to go. It's been a long wait.
So for those thinking about coming up, where have they to go and what time have they to be there?
Drummer's Corner, Peterhead, 12 o'clock. We're looking at start at 12. So we're hoping everybody comes before 12. And then at 12, we can just kick off and away we go. It's smack bang in the middle of town. There's a road that leads right in from Aberdeen, straight down past the beach, turn right and keep going. It'll take you right into Drummer's Corner. And there's car parking everywhere. Aye.
And what about if anybody was coming up public transport, trains and buses? Quite easy to get to the Drummer's Corner from the stations.
Well, when I go to the train stations in Peterhead, the bus, and that.
I know.
Closest one's Aberdeen.
Aberdeen.
You get off at the train. You get off the train station at Aberdeen. It takes you right beside the bus station, and then there's a bus straight for Aberdeen, straight into our town centre. So.
And how long would that take in a bus? 20 minutes.
It's a bus. Got an hour on the bus.
What?
Aye, but an hour.
Well, anybody getting public transport would be fantastic. What we should maybe do is we should maybe get, if we could fit his scooter on the back of my motor, I could drop him at Aberdeen. He could just do shuttles with people up and down to Peterhead.
Just do shuttle runs all day. Aye, no bother.
The yellow scooter will be famous.
Aye.
There's Aldo put mentioning. I'm doing the same, Aldo. So if you see me sort of squinting, you know what I'm doing. Aye. So I just hope it gets the support it deserves. I know you've all been putting in a lot of work to get this to where it is just now. So I hope. I think it will. When you think about it, the people up in the northeast have got the same concerns as people all over the United Kingdom, right? But they're not able to get into Glasgow or London or wherever there's protests as easy as us, because you're kind of 2-3 hours away to anywhere down south. So I think there'll be a lot of people up there who have maybe been itching to get to a protest, and just with the logistics, it's not been able to. So now that there's one on their doorstep, I don't think it'll just be Peterhead. I'd imagine you've got a fair crowd. Biggest cities, obviously Aberdeen, and then all the other sort of more rural towns and villages round about. Yeah, I think you'll maybe get a pleasant surprise. But are you getting feedback from your sort of local northeast folk about coming and supporting you, Stephen?
I mean, in the group itself, we've got about 500 members.
Wow.
But I'm not saying that they're got a turn out. That's just in a local group that we've got on Facebook. There's about just under 500 members last time I looked tonight. But I'm not saying every one of them's got to turn up. A lot of them will just be watchers. But the Aberdeen protest on Saturday, I reckon at the biggest point there was maybe about 300 at the biggest, and the majority of them have said they're coming through. So we'll see how it goes. A couple of the young ones, I don't know if you've seen them. There's a couple of young lads speaking on a microphone or on a megaphone in Aberdeen. So the two of them, they're coming through. They're got to be speaking as well. So, we're hoping for big numbers. Like, it's our point into big numbers anyway. So,
it sounds as if you've got a fair few speakers and stuff. So it's not going to be go up there and it'll be done in 10 minutes, eh? With plenty of folk to do.
I think the time schedule we've been given is about 3 hours. So,
okay, yeah. Yeah,
I mean, you've done well, Stevie. I mean, you really have done well with this one. Do you know what I mean?
It has been hard.
I know. Hard. I mean, I've never organised one myself, but I can imagine, and you and your team have done a great job with getting this out there, and again, obviously, there's a lot of people in the background giving you a hand as well. But all I'll say is to anybody that's listening and is turning up at Peterhead on Saturday, stay calm. Do you know what I mean? Because the last thing we want is any video clips or anything getting sent out there. Let the paid agitators come up and agitate. Do you know what I mean? And we'll just make a mockery of them, and we'll just get on with the job that's in hand, the task that's in hand. That's all we need to just remember.
That's it. I mean, we're stressed. We don't want anyone coming to our protest with masks. We don't want anybody looking for trouble with the counter protesters. I mean, shout back and forward as much as they want. This is bit. As soon as somebody from our side starts pushing or throwing punches, then it's just got to descend into chaos, and we're not wanting it. So it makes us look bad. I mean, we're trying to make protests up and down the country. They've all got the far right label. They've all got the thugs. I mean, the more that's happening, the better our guys are starting to look. So as long as we can continue it, and then everybody will see it's actually the counter protesters that are the ones in the wrong, the ones that's up defending paedophiles and rapists. That's the guys that's in the wrong.
Yep.
So as long as we stick to the side, don't hold any carry-ons, then the better we all look.
Yeah. To be fair, the amount of protests I've talked at, and I've had counter protests in almost every one of them. The only one where it looked as if it did get a bit iffy was Glasgow, and it actually wasn't the counter protesters as much. It was the Green Brigade joined in with them, and they actually tried to get into, sort of basically split the square in half, and they tried to get into our half, and they get kettled, and they kettled them for I think they kettled them the whole duration of the thing, but as they marched them past, it got a bit tasty.
That's Craig. I mean,
should have got violent.
I mean, right? You know what Stevie and I are all about. Do you know what I mean? And we're not going to make this about the football allegiances. But Nick, if you actually go what's happening in the Republic of Ireland, you will see there's a lot less support for what these people are supporting than they think. I mean,
the patriotism shown by the people in the Republic Islands has been absolutely amazing, mate. And we'll probably not be seeing it all. I'm actually thinking the next time I go over to Ballymena, is going into the Republic as well, because it doesn't matter where they are in these islands, right? And an island, it's not part of it politically, but it is part of it geographically. And we've all got the same concerns, or at least most normal people have all got the same concerns. And that's what I've learned by doing my travels. And now that I've been to a couple of European destinations as well, it's actually the same with all of Europe. And everybody's fed up. It was wee Alan at Ballymena where the penny dropped with me. What really upsets people is language used against them. They were concerned with there was 2 or 3 assaults of a sexual nature, and they that's what the story was. But the mainstream turned it to there's protests, and that's the story. Then they ignored the problem, and they thought that everybody gets the same. You're far right, fascist, racist, all these things. When you're not. Listen, you might, but that's not why you're because people have got concerns, and it's the same bloody concerns for Peterhead to Dover, and by the way, and in Calais, and in Dunkirk, and in Lesbos, and in all the places that I go to. It's bonkers. Anyway, I'm going to take a wee. Sorry, bud, what were you saying?
I mean, that's the thing, Craig. I mean, I follow a couple of guys Spray Island on TikTok, and you see it that we don't get to see it because obviously it's a Republic of Ireland, it's not part of the UK, so therefore it sort of gets ignored like everything else. But if you're actually of that persuasion, and you think you're doing the righteous thing, go and look at what the Irish people are actually doing in their own country, and you might be surprised to see that they've had enough of this nonsense. Do you know what I mean? So
I went to do the protest. I was invited by people in Royston to go and cover the protest up there. And for those who don't know Glasgow, Royston is probably the most sort of. It came through after the Second World War, a lot of migration from Ireland, and they went there. It's just north of the city centre, and predominantly today it's descendants of the vast majority in there. So, you know, they're not the same part of Christianity as I am. They're Roman Catholics. They're not got the same desires for the union that I have. They want to separate the union. They'll be anti-monarchy, and they're very and everything, football, religion, politics, total opposite of me. And I get invited into their place to cover it, and I went and done it. And then what happens after that? The mainstream media can't go, oh my God, the good people of Royston don't want migrants on their doorstep either. So they turned it into, it was my fault. And I apparently instigated it, and I managed to get hundreds of people in Royston. 90% of them will probably not like me. And I managed to get these people somehow into a protest situation. It's completely bonkers. Anyway, listen, I'm just going to put a wee 50-second video on for you to watch just while I take a wee comfort break. So we'll be right back with you in a second. Hi there, welcome to a new concept for the channel where you, the viewer, gets to come onto the show and tell me, Houston, we have a problem. I want to hear from you, your community, and the issues you have with the United Kingdom currently. And the only thing I ask you to do is start a conversation with, Houston, we have a problem. When you see the description on YouTube, all you have to do is scroll down the description, click on that link, it'll bring you straight into the studio. From there, I'll invite you up, and you start the conversation with Houston, we have a problem. And we'll see what we can do to help you, your community, and your problems going forward. You never know, it might be my next journey, length and breadth to the UK, to come to your community and cover your issues. So get live, get involved. Houston, we have a problem. So there you go, wee break there. Thanks very much for that. Still sticking about. Now, just bear in mind, this was brought about to get people to come up and tell me and everybody else what's concerning them in their communities and in the UK at large. So please, if you're on YouTube, go into the description. You'll see a link at the top of the description. That'll bring you straight into the studio. If you're on Twitter, I'm sure I've managed to put one on there for the first time as well. So if you get anything that's annoying you, click the button, come in, and as long as you start by saying, Houston, we have a problem, you'll make me smile. Thanks very much. So Robert, you've got to boost soon. So listen, thanks very much. Just before you go, you've got a YouTube channel which is specialising a lot in army stories. You've had a lot of good guests. I've watched a few of them myself, and it tends to be guys with forces experience talking about their experiences and stuff. How's the channel going?
Aye, excuse me, sorry. Aye, it's picking up now. We've got a couple getting edited. I'm just going to go and help somebody do one in a couple of minutes. Hopefully we'll run out by the end of the week. I can't tell you who it is because it's a Scottish actor and we're sworn to secrecy until we get it out. But he was ex-army and we were having a good talk about things. So that'll be out this week. Otherwise, Craig, we've just been watching yourself, trying to find out as much as we can what's happening and hope that everybody wakens up and doesn't resort to violence and uses their votes to get a decent regime change in this country before it's too late.
Yeah. Now, to be honest, I need to confess to something, Robert. Now that I'm doing the studio up, they've started putting some books up here. There's a rule to get a book up here, you need to be on the podcast. And your sister gave me into trouble because yours isn't up there. So I'll need to get a copy of yours up there. And
I'll bring you a copy across this week.
Okay, and I'll stick it up there.
Got a book,
And I'll actually stick it that way so everybody can see. And this one's very special to me. One of my first, or not one of my first, but one of my biggest guests I ever had was David Holmes, who reinvented the Rangers when I was a kid, when we were rotten and made us good. And it was an honour to have him, and he gave me that book after I interviewed him. And I've got Roy Lerner, The Lion of London Bridge. I've got another one to go up there with an ex-soldier that I was reading on holiday. Who else have I got? I've got another couple in the car and another place I stay. So I need to get them all. Probably about 5 or 6 that have been guests of the show that I've given me my book that I'll stick up there. So I need to get one of yours, Robert, and get a push. But Robert, what's your channel?
Eyewitness Podcast.
Right. So at Eyewitness Podcast. I'm just sticking a wee link in in there. So if you're on YouTube just now, click on that link and give Robert a follow, and he's got a decent back catalogue. He must have what, about a dozen, maybe 18 so far.
Aye, 35 videos in total. I think 10 podcasts and the rest are like wee drama documentaries before the Stalinist Act come into play. We all need to watch what we're doing.
All right, well, listen, Robert, I appreciate you coming on, and I know you're busy. You've got a podcast to do, so thanks very much, mate. We'll see you soon.
Best of luck to everybody at the weekend. Stay safe, stay sensible. Don't play into their hands, guys. And I wish you all the best. I'd be there, but I'm not able anymore.
Spot on. Thank you very much.
See you about some point.
See you later, guys.
Hey, Robert.
All the best.
See you later.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
buddy. Right, I've got a couple of things that I've starred here. Kev, somebody's here saying, evening, gents. Kev might know me as Stephen C. He's up there as Chalmers.
He's on X.
Rangers, man.
No, I don't think so, mate. No.
Right, here's something that's doing my nut in. Right, I thought about this the other day. Do you know the weather is better at stopping boats than our government?
I seen that one. What was it? Storm Forest has stopped more migrants coming out here than the fucking Labour government has. I've seen that one.
The weather's better. The weather's better at border control than our government. It's absolutely bonkers. There's a question here for KPG. Have these cyclones that have been popped up everywhere been pre-planned for an expected increase in delivery drivers? That's a fair point, because I never see any of them use them. It's one in Knightswood, right, that they built for the Commonwealth Games because there was a BMX park up that part of the city. And they took a really nice wide road and gave the bikes like a third of it. And you're like, nobody's never, and it's not as if it's like 100 yards. I have never seen anybody ever use it. And I go up that road regularly, and I just go, what's the point of this? So, so it's just it's just another thing that just makes me scratch my head and that's probably why I'm involved. You think, well, what's going on? Right, we've got somebody joined us, and it's Nick. So I'm going to bring Nick up. Nick, you've got the floor. Do you know how to start? How are you?
Houston, we have a problem.
Aye. And what's your problems, Nick?
I've got many problems, Craig. You know that. Well, obviously, I seen that you were going up to Peterhead on Saturday. Can you hear me?
Aye, loud and clear.
Perfect. Obviously, I don't know if you saw my latest sort of stance on this whole far right, far left debacle, that we need to sort of get away from using these terms that are being pushed out by, you know, the governments. They're the ones that are using these terms in order to divide us, you know. So if we stop sort of using them, we stop giving them the power of these words and these phrases, you're fascist, you're far right, you're far lefts, etc., etc., I think we would actually find that we have more in common than we don't. We all have the common enemy. And if we can all actually come together and fight the common enemy, because we know who the common enemy is, and it's not the counter-protesters. The common enemy is the government. It's very simple. It's problem, reaction, solution. They've created the problem. They know what reaction they're going to get. And then they know the solution before they've even implemented it. And we seem to be falling into the trap of that with doing, I think, I mean, this is just my opinion, doing these hotel protests, doing the protests where the oppositions are getting marched to them, etc., etc. This is what's going to pave the way, in my opinion, to implement digital IDs, to implement tracking systems, to impose these restrictions on us simply because a select few, I'm not saying up here, mainly down in England, can't behave themselves. So what they'll simply do is just arm up the people that they've been allowing into the country for God knows how long, and that's going to be our army. That's going to be the men that are going to be put on the streets and told what to do. Again, this is not factually, this is just my opinion, and this is where I think the problem's going to stem from. is they've been allowed to come into the country and they'll get told, stand there with that in your hand and do not allow anybody to get by you. And if you do, you know what you need to do, because you remember, we let you into the country. We let you stay here. We give you food. We give you home, etc., etc. So now you'll do as you're told, because our actual military will be away fighting in foreign wars that's nothing to do with us. So then who's going to man our country? It's just a thought.
No, I get that, right. And one of the biggest points you made there that caught my attention was they'll use this as an excuse to get in digital IDs, facial recognition, all these, it's a doomsday scenario that's coming. But do you think if there wasn't any protests and any of them turned violent, they wouldn't be doing it anyway?
Oh, it would absolutely be getting implemented anyway. It's going to start getting implemented over the next sort of 5 to 7 years. But what this is going to do is just... What's that?
It's already here.
I know it's already here, but it's going to get pushed a lot quicker because of these things, rather than maybe a little bit of a delayed game. They're going to do it under the guidance of safety. You know, take your mind back to 2020. You gave up your freedom of movement, your ability to travel, etc., under the guidance of safety, right? This is going to be the same playbook. So under the bill of safety, under the guidance of safety, to keep you safe, etc., we need to now give everybody a digital ID. We need to give you digital currency, etc., all the things that we know that are going to be implemented over the next sort of 5 to 7 years at its highest peak. So you're right, the things will come, but how do we go about stopping it? That's the question. You know, how do we fight back against the system as a collective?
I think the only way we've got without having a civil war is putting people into positions of power that are bowing down to world orders. That's it. I came to the conclusion it's the only way without violence that we can sort this, and getting people in that will not be bribed and taking taking orders from people who are not in the United Kingdom, because our sovereignty is core to solving this problem.
Mm-hmm. I think it's a bigger issue than people actually care to admit or care to realise. When you've got people like yourself and John and others trying to push out this mentality that there is people out there that can help, and we do need to stand together and we need to band together and not be divided in this cause. I think one of the biggest issues we have as well is people have got a lot of bad habits, and it's easier to train bad habits into people than it is to train them out of people. So when you're trying to change the mentality of a category of people, you're going to struggle almost at every turn. And I think that's one of the biggest issues that we need to try and fix as well, is the mentality of people.
You said somebody's saying here, Houston, have a problem, turn the music off. I don't have any music on. Is anybody else hearing music through their ears? Because Anthony's saying here, Houston, have a problem, turn the music off. And I've seen somebody else said something about music.
I can't hear any music. I've not got any music playing.
You said something else that struck a chord.
Bear with me a tick. I'll put my headphones in because it could potentially be coming through my mic. Just give me a minute.
You said something else that caught my attention, and that was about using this left and right terminology. And it was about 2 months ago, I was invited down to talk at the London School of Economics on a political talk, right? I was like, what am I doing here? Right, I'm in the wrong movie, but listen, I went down well and I got well received. And there was a guy there, Lord David Owen, who potentially could have been the next Prime Minister in the UK back in the 80s if it wasn't for the Falklands War and Maggie Thatcher's numbers went way up after that. But he was doing what Reform are doing now. They were polling 30% at the time, and he was predicted to be the next Prime Minister. Anyway, he was there, and And I mentioned very much what you were saying. I said, do you know, it's left and right nonsense. I'm sick of it. And it's ridiculous. And I said, and I'm going to point out why it's ridiculous and why we should stop using it. And I said, could everybody in the room that has any feelings that we should have a National Health Service, please put your hand up. And out of the corner of my eye, the first person to put his hand up was Lord David Owen. I was on awestruck and stuff, right? And everybody in the room put their hand up. I says, okay. Using today's terminologies and the fact that today everything's got to be polar and extreme, I've just realised that that is a left of centre policy, that the state should take responsibility for your health. I didn't realise I was in a building full of communists. And they're sort of looked. I says, now I'm going to ask you another question. I don't care what the number is, but do you think immigration is too high just now? Some people might think there's one person too many. Some might think they need 100% reduction. But put your hand up, please, if you think that we've got too many people coming to this country just now. And everybody put a hand up. And I said, so what we've just proven then is we've changed this room to a room full of Marxist communists, lefties, to a room full of far-right fascist racists. Because that's how we describe things in this country. But I'm quite happy to accept that I'm probably in a room with a lot of proper people that are probably centre, or slightly left, or slightly right. There's no far right, far left in here, or fascists, or racists, or communists. But that's how we deal with things in public today. And that's why we need to stop this nonsense. It means nothing to me. Folks say to me, how are you politically? I don't know. And what we need to do, and this is how I finished the speech, I says we need to stop talking in terms of right and left politically. And we need to start talking in terms of right and wrong, because that's how we'll save Britain. But you're right, we just talk about this all the time, and you're this and you're that. We pigeonhole people, we polarise people, everything's got to be an extreme left or whatever. And it's just bonkers, and it doesn't lead to good, it doesn't lead to solving any problems. And everything's got to be polarised, and everybody's got to be put in a box. And things like Gaza and Israel, for example, where whatever happens there will happen there. But we are forced now, particularly on social media, that you must pick a side in everything. And I'm like, I would just like to think you finished if that's all right. That's my opinion on it. Hamas are terrorists, and Netanyahu defended himself, and he's probably done a few things that aren't too right. Okay, that's the facts. So both can do bad things. And I'm just sick of it. I just would rather it stopped. And I would rather idiots like Hamza Yousaf get back to going to Holyrood and talking about me, because he's actually my constituency MSP, and sorting out the shite that's important to me in my life, rather than being on Twitter. And I look today, 12 of his last 13 tweets are about Gaza. Right? Well, news for you, mate, you're an MSP, and I don't know the last time you were in Holyrood doing your job since you lost your job as a First Minister and you went back to being an MSP and doing what you're bloody voted for in the first place. Anyway, that's me.
I mean, I don't know if you saw my speech that I gave in Dover when I went down the middle of last month. That was the part that I emphasised on in the board that I had, that there is no far right and there is no far left. It's just the people versus the system. It's as simple as that. And we need to stop. And like you said there, you can no longer be a person with an opinion. It's you're almost forced into choosing one side or the other. You can't just simply remain neutral in the middle and say, look, I'm not even centre. All I'm doing is looking at this from an objective standpoint. I can see the pros and the cons with one side, and I can see the pros and the cons with the other. That is how you have an adult conversation, and then you shake hands and you walk away and say, enjoy your night, mate. It should be as simple as that. But I think, like I say, there's too many bad habits. There's too many bad habits instilled in people, and they don't know how to change. Yes, I always say that a leopard will never change its spots, but it might not necessarily need to change its spots, but it could learn a few things.
I've just had somebody remind me of something, and I'm a bit peeved off. Look, somebody's sent a message in saying patriotic background, and I take it they're talking about that, right? So what I'm going to do is, there you are, right?
Will I join you? Will I join you?
There's the blue one. Oh, there we go. You get better lights, you mean?
We go that one.
Day zooming in and all that, Nick. No, get that one away.
We'll go back to the white. Oh, mate, I've got. I'm in actually my new studio. This is my custom built studio that I'm almost finished. Almost finished. We're getting there. I get a lot of criticism for the floor, actually. Believe it or not.
Because it looks like a Masonic carpet.
No, well, I says, see on a chessboard, right? I says the black and the white pieces hate each other, but it's the people that move the pieces are always friends.
There you go. Right, see this Proverbs guy? What you can do, Proverbs, you can go and talk to Truth, right? And just unsub me, unfriend me, don't follow me on any socials, because you're never off my back, right? He's fixing me, Kev, that guy all the time. And I'll tell you what, I'm not going to get up to Peterhead and no have some Aberdeen fans give me pelt or something. It's going to happen.
Of course it's going to happen. Well, I would have made the trip,
I'll get alive this time.
Unfortunately, I need to get fitted for my new accessories that's coming on Saturday. I have to get glasses, unfortunately. I'm getting to that age where I need glasses.
What do you need them for?
For screens and reading.
I'm the opposite. I need mine for driving.
I'm just screens and reading at the minute. But I'm going to bounce now, Craig. Thank you for having me up. It was an absolute pleasure talking to you as always.
For coming, it's what this is about. It's folk come in and out and get their opinions out there. And do you know why I started it? Like, I like these X spaces on Twitter. And I thought, how can we sort of develop one of them for YouTube? So that's how I come up with this idea. Somebody's probably done it before, and there's probably hundreds of people doing it, but I hadn't seen it, and I thought, got to give this a go. Done it probably 4 or 5 times, and there seems to be an appetite for it. And every show there's people, I try and get a couple of people to come up anyway that I know, so I'm not sitting here like a dafty myself. But every show we're getting more and more people coming up from the audience coming up, and that's kind of what it's about. I can sit in here and do as many morning videos as I want during the day, but it gives other people a platform as well. Stevie's you don't do YouTube, do you, Stevie?
No, just usually Facebook and X.
Aye, so it gives people, that are maybe, because YouTube's a whole world on its own. And people, Kev, I think I'm talking Kev into starting his YouTube channel because he's out doing some audits on the migrant.
I wouldn't know because I'm not allowed on it.
You bad?
I'm not allowed on YouTube. Can't talk about the things I talk about on YouTube, unfortunately. But
aye, no, I tried that. What is it called? Rumble. Rumble didn't like it. Nobody watched it.
Rumble is a hard. It's still quite new to people in the UK. It is a new concept to people in the UK, and trying to get people to transition from X to Rumble now. Rumble's got a lot of good benefits, but it is hard to gain the audience on it, and it is hard to get people over to the platform. But unfortunately, it's where I need to be because I can't talk about the things I talk about on YouTube because I just get banned all the time. I don't know how many videos I've had removed.
Aye, John. I mean, I know the topics. What happens with YouTube is I know fine well when I'm doing certain topics that it's going to kill me for about 3 days. I've had 1, maybe 2 videos actually pulled, but you just know, you go, nobody's watched that. That video should be getting roughly X amount of figures. You kind of get a handle and a feeling for a video before you put it out, and they just flump on certain topics. And Rumble had emailed me months ago and said, "Look, would you fancy coming on?" Blah blah blah. And I flung on half a dozen videos, and then what I was doing is every time I put one on YouTube, I was putting on to Rumble as well at the same time. Some of them were getting like 4 viewers, and to be fair, I should have stuck it out because the time it was a click at a button. Do you know what I mean? So now that I've got my internet running a wee bit better, I might get another wee go and just throw them in there and see what happens. But aye, it wasn't great. Listen, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it. Any time,
gentlemen.
Just
have a good evening.
You too, buddy. Take care. See you later, mate. So I'm having a wee look here just to catch up on the questions. There's nothing more come in. What's that?
Oh, that's a dog.
Somebody stood in the dog.
My dog, all you hear my dog doing snoring and farts.
Aye,
Well,
it's
that's
only
how he
early here
does.
for that.
Old Betty
Right,
sitting
guys,
on
so if anybody does fancy coming up, just go and click if you're on YouTube, click on the description. You'll see the link there. If you're on X, I'm sure I managed to get it put on X as well. And if you're coming up, do it now, because I'm going to probably pull it together in maybe 5-10 minutes. So I'll hear a wee bit more if you come in, tell us just have a problem and get busy. So what we're up to, Stevie, what else have you got to plan between now and Saturday's big event?
Just now, the only thing left for us is to set up our disabled area. We're getting a little seating area at front, not massive, just for any elderly folk or disabled folk, so they're not stuck in a crowd. And then that's us. So we're just making sure that we're guaranteed our seats, and then that's us, nothing else. Ready to go.
Somebody asked what was next channel.
No?
What's that?
Sorry, mate.
Craig not get any sarcastic comment on the back end of that one? Because I was just waiting for him. Well, that'll be for Kev.
I know it will be. It's Kev's area.
Aye.
Cohen in a seat. There you go, son.
Area, I thought, watch this. He's got he'll come crumbling in the new man. Aye, that'll be for Kev to sit there, but you missed your trick.
Guys, some folk were asking about Nick's. I've seen comments, details. There's Nick's thing up on the screen now. If you'll get his details. I think he's got the same name on Rumble. Right, we've got somebody who's took the proper homes.
He did say a couple. I mean, look, he's right with a couple of things. That Nick. I mean, he sounds like John a wee bit there. You know what I mean? But there are things there that I'm no convinced by. I mean, there's certain ideologies that are the ones that are creating the divisions, and that's where your left and your right's coming from. I would agree that there's certain things that most probably we do.
Oh, hello.
Right.
Hi, mate. Kev's just finishing now, mate. I'll bring you in, okay?
No, it's all right. Go on.
It was just, I mean, he's right in what he's saying, but there's certain things out there that are people trying to get us to believe or buy into. That's what's creating your divisions. I mean, I would agree that we most probably do agree on a lot of things, but the trans ideology, all that nonsense, I'm sorry, that's no anything I'm ever going to buy into. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Right, so I've got somebody else come in to join us as a guest. Bear, you know how to start? How do you start the conversation and crack on?
Oh, hey, Chief. Yeah, sorry for cutting in before. It was just, I saw your stream discussing about like some of the current stuff affecting us at the moment. So I just figured if it's all right for me to join in and
yeah, we've got one rule, and that's it, right? All you need to do is start off, tell us what the problem is by saying, Houston, we have a problem, and you fill your boots, my friend.
Oh, okay then. And obviously it's your stream, so I'll keep it very safe, but obviously not on like that. So, Houston, we have a problem, and that problem is the current leadership of the government.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I don't think you'll get much disagreement on that, mate.
Yeah, I know it's a very open-ended thing because pretty much anyone from any political stance can agree with that. But I would say that it's a case of, it's not so much, it is definitely a case of leadership of government, but it's also a case of government itself.
So what's the biggest problem and how do we fix it?
The way, so this may not be the perfect idea, but my idea would be to dismantle it completely and erect a direct democracy for the people.
How does that work?
So in the sense of, rather than having representatives in the House of Parliament vote on our behalf, when it comes to passing of like certain laws or stuff like that, we would have to, everyone in the nation would have the decision to vote yay or nay.
On everything?
Pretty much everything, yeah.
Okay, right. So we look at when we have a general election, which is kind of the biggest thing we can vote on just now, and not everybody votes. And then we look at local elections, where hardly anybody votes. How many people would take part in this thing? I think if we were having referendums and we were having like a Brexit or a Scottish national independence referendum, because they're big, massive things and we don't have them every day, then you'll get, a lot of people getting involved. But if it was, right, what duty are we going to put in a bottle of wine next? Is that the sort of things we would have referendums on?
We could potentially have that, because I feel a lot of people, especially when it comes to the general populace as well, that I personally believe that if there was a vote for a Scottish referendum, a lot of people in the UK would vote for Scotland to be independent. Because, I'm English, but I believe Scotland should be independent itself,
Right. Well, that's kind of a big question, right? Let's just take an example. Let's take two examples. Let's say we held a national referendum for everybody to decide what the income tax rate would be, and you would kind of think 0 would win, right? And then we say, well, how much are we going to pay our grannies in winter fuel allowance? And everybody would vote on quite a lot, right? So then you have no money. So surely that's just a lottery then. Would you not end up bankrupt quite quick? Joker, I can see you down in the green room. I'll get you up as soon as, buddy. So, do you know what I'm saying? It's like, well, it sounds like a great ethos, a great idea, but
no, I understand you there. Where it's like people can vote on anything. I would say that it wouldn't so much be a case of people can vote on whatever they wanted. It would just be a case of we would still have a somewhat parliamentary system that would propose ideas forward, but it would be down to the people to vote on whether they wanted that or not.
Would never be at the polling station.
Yeah, but if we don't have anybody representing us and making decisions for us, then who decides the income tax rate? Who decides the national insurance rate? Who decides in the spending for our services and our defence?
Yeah, see, I would say it's a case of like these representatives who wouldn't vote on our behalf. They would put across an idea, put it to the British public, or sorry, I should say the entirety of the United Kingdom public, and then the public would vote on whether they wanted that or not. So it is a case of we still would have somewhat representatives in Parliament and a bit of a parliamentary system, but we wouldn't have it where if a vote is passed in the House of Lords, we wouldn't have a say. It's a case of they can put things forward, but we would have to say if it's something we want to do or not.
Are you talking about the same sort of model in Switzerland?
What was that? Sorry, mate.
Are you talking about the same sort of system that Switzerland uses?
Kind of, yes, where there is a parliament and there is like a government, but people can have the right to vote in on what they vote.
I mean, as much as I agree, because I was in a space one night and a guy was talking about that, and as much as it works for Switzerland, it doesn't necessarily mean it works for the UK. And the reason
yeah, no, of course. Don't get me wrong. I completely understand that it wouldn't be something we could implement overnight. I was just saying that in my ideal situation, that would be my idea. But obviously, like I'm not saying that should be that. I'm not saying that should be the only thing we should do. I was just saying in my ideal situation, that would be it.
Because we the UK are always looking at other countries. And the guy was talking about that, and Switzerland's only got a population of something like 9 million. Do you know what I mean?
Whereas yeah, no, of course. And Switzerland's always had a different culture towards us.
I mean, it's not a bad idea, but as Craig says, I mean, we're 40% of the people didn't turn out for the general election there. Hence the reason we've been stuck with this nonsense. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, I can understand that because to be honest with you, I did not vote in the general election. I've not voted ever, to be honest with you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but the thing is that it's a case of I haven't voted not because I'm lazy. I just haven't voted because there's no one I can vote for that I completely agree with or mostly agree with that I want to vote for them.
Well, put yourself up for election.
Potentially, yes, but well, maybe yeah, but it's a case of like I'd probably say to other people, don't vote for me.
Fair play to you, Bear. Well, listen, Bear, I've got Joker Dan coming up, so listen, I really appreciate you coming up, because if folk don't come up, it's a kind of point.
Oh, no, it's all right. Yeah, thank you for having me on the stream, and yeah, get the other guy up. I'll leave. Thank you.
And I'll get you back any other time we're on. You know, and if you see us in the passing, pop in, say hello, and we'll get you back up. But
I will do. Thank you for that. But anyways, have a good stream and have a good night.
Cheers, pal. Take care, mate. Cheers, buddy. So we have another caller, which is fantastic, and it's Joker Dan. So Joker Dan, it says Afghan flag raised. Is that right? Is I reading that right? So Dan, you know how to start. Houston, we have a problem, and the floor's yours.
Houston, we have a rabbit hole that we don't want to open. It's not good. I've just been down to Stockport today. I'm a Mancunian. I live in Manchester. I've just been down to Stockport today to the hotel that I went down to a couple of months ago just to check it out because it was getting a bad reputation. And I saw a lot of mattresses and a lot of telly getting delivered down there. So I've been back today. I managed to get into the gym. It's separate, the gym. So you can like go in from pay for a month and that. And it's the door to the hotel is away to the side. And round the back, there's all the families playing outside. But they are starting to go together in like an Afghan sort of way, like an army sort of way. The very military when they're walking around. And I don't know whether it's the ones that they've brought over in from Afghanistan that I don't know. But if you want an army that's prepared to put a gun in an Englishman's face, it's not going to be an English army, is it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's not going to be an English army.
No, it's a bit scary.
So
is this a new migrant hotel you found that?
No, this is the one on the A6. It's quite prominent. I think it might be linked to, allegedly, obviously, what's gone on with the Wilmslow Park. I think it might be related to that. I don't know.
You're Manchester, you said that?
Yeah. I've been down to the... I went down on Saturday to the Britain First, and it was full of people with masks that looked more police than police. People with umbrellas were unbelievable. They were just police. The Antifa with umbrellas. I mean, they got ushered away into unmarked cars when it got tasty. They got pretend arrested, fully masked up, marched off, fully masked up, placed into the back of an unmarked car, fully masked up. And I'm thinking, the agitators, they've got to be part of what's going on.
Isn't it, mate? It's dark. Can I ask you something, Dan? Just before I ask you, Crow is waiting to come up to speak, but it won't let me. It's hovered over him and it's saying you will need to connect mic stroke cam before you can be added to the stream, Crow. So if you're listening, you can hear me. There's something your end that once Dan's finished, I'll bring you up, but it's kind of not letting me when I hover over your name and green room. So, right, Dan, I stayed in Manchester. I was out in Lesbos, not having a holiday. I was out there making some videos about the immigration coming into EU. And I flew out from Manchester, and I had a meeting on the Monday. I flew home on the Sunday, had a meeting in Manchester on the Monday, and I stayed in the Britannia Airport Hotel, right?
Right.
And it was a bit weird. And I'll tell you what I thought was a bit weird. I've stayed in Britannia hotels before. I think there's another one near Manchester Airport that I stayed in years ago, to the other side of the airport.
The one in
And this
Stockport
one,
that I've been to today.
Aye.
Was
So the one in, aye, well, the Manchester Airport one, see when you walk into reception now, it looks as if they've just put it up and they've put full clear perspex round the whole of the reception area, bar a little foot at the bottom so you can put in your card and pay for your stuff. And I was like,
yeah, same as.
This is like, my spidey senses are tingling here. Is this hotel going that way as well? Is that kind of
it's a
how they start?
That's a multi one. Yeah, that's a multi one. That's how they start. They start with the families, and they put them into a multi sort of. So there's guests staying on the first 2 floors,
So I can still,
and then
so I can
and
still book a room.
above,
There'll be a couple of floors.
Yeah, and then as they get more bookings, they just stop booking for the normal people, and then eventually it becomes like the wolves guarding.
I had that vibe to it, mate. And to be fair, my room was on the first or second floor, first floor actually, and there were some people, and I'm thinking they don't look as if they're going on holiday. Everybody there was getting in and out of cases because that's why people stay at the Manchester Airport Hotel. And there was the stuff for the glass. And then there was a couple of people, I'd went out for a cigarette late at night. There was a couple of people coming out having cigarettes, well, a vape parlour. There was a couple of people coming out having cigarettes that I thought, you don't look British to me. And I just had that vibe. So it looks like that's where it's going. Listen, mate, sterling work. People appreciate the efforts that you and other people are putting into this. So
you're doing so much work, mate. I mean, you're going into a lot more frightening places than I am, and I doff my hat to you, mate. You know, top man, mate. Just keep doing what you do. We need to save this island. We need to save this island, mate. We need to save it.
Yeah,
we do.
No, I appreciate that.
I'm frightened, mate. I'm frightened.
Bravery. It might be doing
you know what I mean?
stupidity. Well, we'll get there, mate. We'll get there. All right.
All right. Big love to you. Big love to everybody listening. All right. You take care.
Cheers,
bye.
pal. Thanks for coming. Appreciate it. Right.
Bye-bye.
So we've got somebody coming in who, cheers, buddy, who's audio only, and it is Crow. So, Crow, the stage is yours. You know how to introduce yourself. You know the line you need to tell us, and then tell us your problem. You there, Crow? Crow, I don't know if you're not muted, but I can't hear you. Can Kev or Steve hear Crow?
No.
That's a bummer.
It's see when you click on the StreamYard, it says to
No, he must have his mic on, because earlier on I was hovering over him before I clicked the join stage, and it just said you can't join because your mic and or camera are off. So you can come on, obviously, but just your camera off, because you're here doing that every time you come on, Kev. So you don't need to put your camera on. So I don't know what's happening, Crow. Crow, do us a wee favour. I'll drop back out, come back in the link, and see if that resets itself, and we'll hang fire for you for a couple of minutes, okay? So I'm going to kick you out
what you need to do, Craig, is see when you come in, it comes up with allow mic access. So you've got to allow mic access, and then it comes up with, you'll see your face, you'll actually see your face, but you can turn the camera off, and then you enter the studio then.
Aye. Well, hopefully, there's Scotty just tell me the news. I'm sitting watching here, mate, 3-0. I think that's the mighty Glasgow Rangers safely through the next round of Europe, which is probably the most important thing in the UK right now. There we go, Crow. Hopefully that works this time. How are you?
Hello.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
We can, loud and clear. Well, Crow, if you've been watching the show, you know how you need to start, and then tell us your problems, buddy.
Well, I've only caught it a few times, and I've only caught it in the middle, so you might have to let me know.
Houston, we have a problem, and tell us your problems.
Understood. Houston, we have a lot of problems. Okay, this country we got so many. I'll give you that. I'll give you the headlines though. Firstly, we're not having enough kids.
Crack on.
That's secondly, we are lost in spiritual wilderness. We tie ourselves to football clubs, to beer, to whatever. We don't tie ourselves to community, and we don't tie ourselves to being independent, thoughtful contributors into society. That's another thing. Thirdly, we've been caught up in materialism. There are three huge problems that we need to overcome. One of these antidotes is a return to Christianity. I know people roll their eyes or whatever, but that is the truth. We need to set our sights on something greater than us. We need to set our sights on community and being shepherds of our own flock. Then will we be truly ready to lead the country into a better place. And I think what will happen if we return to something like this is that we'll naturally have more children. We will have a society which is geared towards having more children, and also we won't need to be tied to this economic model of constant growth, which can only be met by constant growth in population, because we're based on sort of like a consumerist sort of it's not progressive, but the only way to progress the country is to tax people more, to gain more tax, to become richer. We need to overcome this by having our own children first and foremost. And I think, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, there's two things I totally agree with you on, and I've got a slightly different viewpoint on one, but we're at the same thing. I think it's been evident for years that the family model's broke. We don't have 4.2 nuclear families anymore. I think, obviously, as a population, we need to have more people, born in this country. And I agree with you in a certain respect in a lot of what you're saying about Christianity. And what I will say about Christianity is, even if you don't have any faith, even if you're an atheist, and I've actually spoke to atheists about this and they agreed with me, if you have a Christian outlook in things, not necessarily a Christian belief, but you look into Christianity in terms of the Ten Commandments, for example, and lead your life based on having morals and dignity and fairness and etc., then the world would be a far better place. And the United Kingdom would be a far better place. So you don't need to be a Christian to adopt Christian values. And I think if we did adopt Christian values, regardless of our even faith, never mind which religion, we would be a better place.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. Yeah. And if we organize ourselves around the church as a community as well, we present a much greater, I wouldn't say threat, but a much greater, we would require much greater interest from the managerial classes, which has done us so wrong for so long. Because we would represent a voter bloc, like you've seen Labour over the past sort of two and a half decades have gone increasingly after quote unquote New Britons as a voting bloc, because they are predictable in their voting, and once they control that bloc, they can then go and seize other sort of areas of society. What we've seen obviously recently is the fact that Labour have become less and less a priority for their client peoples, that whether hook by crook have ended up here. And I'm not saying individuals are evil or huge sectors of society are evil at all, but they offer a different way in which governments may proceed, which isn't necessarily in the interest of people that have been here for hundreds of years, if you understand me.
No, I listen, our nation was built on Christian values, and it's probably never, if we're honest, at any time been 100% Christian. Because even if we didn't have any more religions in the UK, there's probably never been any time where 100% of people have followed any faith or a faith of any description. So those things I've done is no bad. in hundreds of years of sort of modern Britain, regardless of whether you go to a church and pray to a God. But the values, Christian values, are sound and make sense to me. And, to ignore them, to denounce them, just seems a bit weird. And to totally go against them, again, regardless of you having any faith at all, seems bloody ridiculous to me.
Yeah, completely ridiculous, especially when you don't offer anything in return. So we've sort of shared like this shared spirit of Christianity, even if, as you say, that people don't actually follow it broadly or follow it wholeheartedly. We have lost an underpinning in our society and replaced it with like nothingness, with materialism, which has eventually led to hedonism and complete apathy. Like people are chasing the next shiny thing rather than focusing on what they're leaving to their children. And I find that's been one of the most destructive things that's ever happened to our country. If you don't carry on,
sorry, Nico.
No, you
No,
go.
you go. I cut you off.
Okay, I'll go. So if you don't have a forward-thinking population, what will happen is people, like as they do now, in general, and I see this through. I've been through sort of higher education, further education. I've been through university and stuff, and worked in many different sectors in the country. And people, all they tend to care about is what car they drive, what watch they've got, what phone they've got, and that they're chasing these material things to fill, I don't know what, to fill what gap, I don't know, but if it's a trap and people get stuck in it, and we really do need to find a solution for that.
Well, to be fair, I like nice things. I've got a semi-expensive watch, a nice car, or what I think is a nice car for me. I like nice things in my house, but they don't become my God. They don't become the things that I strive for. I just, at times in my life where I've worked particularly hard and I've been rewarded financially, and I think, I can afford to go and buy a nice thing, but it's not what got me up in the morning to go out the door. But I think society, there's a lot of people who, if they don't have nice things, it's really the most frustrating thing in the world. And that's when greed comes in and breaking laws comes in. When people feel that they need to have the latest iPhone. I mean, that phone there is 5 years old. And it does me. Don't get me wrong, I did upgrade it about a month ago, but the police took it off me when they arrested me and I've not got it back yet. So, I have got a newer phone, but that was through practicality and necessity for doing this thing, YouTube and stuff. When I go out, I can use that as a camera. So I upgraded it. But a lot of people, it's like, there's a new iPhone out, I kind of need to get it day one. I need to get whatever it is. I need the fake tan. I need to go to Turkey for the teeth. And a lot of people do vain things just because, again, they can afford to. It's maybe not their driver, but the part of society where it is the driver and it's a sole thing, I find it quite dangerous. But that's kind of, I would rather have a free market economy than communism. So I kind of, it's just a byproduct of that when people are easily led. That the marketing and stuff has to be part of an economy that I would like. But when it becomes so dangerous for some people that it's like, and it's all about the TikTok. You know what I mean? The Waynes might be getting corned beef for their dinner, but Mammy's got on the new bag and can stand like this with the 40s, Yeah. And I think that's just all bollocks. We could do without that.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like we have this sort of like social influencers like TikTok and Instagram and stuff selling people a lie that people buy into, like unattainable lifestyles, either bought with debt or sometimes in TikTok. Like I don't know if you know this, but TikTok largely operated by the Chinese government, and they push deliberately destructive algorithms to people, and it's a completely different app over there that they push engineering, science, maths, and things like that. Young people doing this to set people a role model. And over here we have, well, OnlyFans models and people that, I don't know, buy the latest shiny thing to sell to kids. It's awful. There's so many. We're getting attacked by so many different angles. It's hard. The head spins.
Yeah, always has been, mate. Always has been. Well, look, thanks very much for coming up, Crow. A different angle on things, and I appreciate that because, as I said, I've always got one or two of my pals up here just to keep me company if nobody comes up. So, you know, we kind of rely on people coming off the just been viewing and come into the studio. So thank you very much for doing that. As appreciated. And Kev, Stephen, you got anything you want to add to what Crow's been saying?
No, not necessarily, mate. We just be sitting listening away. I mean, that one goes above my head too much. That's a bit too deep for me, that kind of conversation. I just like to see the thing as simple as I can possibly see them. Do you know what I mean? It's like yourself. I mean, I spoke to you about something the other day there, and you had, I asked you how the hell do you find that out? I just don't know how you manage to kind of dig deep into these things. I just like it to be black and white, see it in front of me, and then take it for there.
Aye, no problem. I don't know if Stevie's disappeared or not. His camera's certainly off. You still there, Stevie?
Oh, you know, I was running about trying to get the burn out the bath, and my AirPods died now, and I'm trying to get my phone charged at the same time. So,
too much commercialism for you, mate. Get a Nokia 1690.
Well, thank you very much for having me on.
No problem at all, Crow, and hopefully we'll speak to you again some other time when you're ever in the room. Just pop up. Okay, buddy? Thanks very much.
Yeah, we'll return. Take care of yourself, guys.
Cheers, buddy. Stevie, I want to leave the floor to you to finish on, to give your protest on Saturday a push. So what do you want to tell people? How do they get involved? Where do they go? How do they follow you?
Well, you can follow me on X, Right Wing Brit. We've got our Facebook group, Peterhead United. It's actually called the Peterhead United Group to stop us clashing with the football team. But I just look for us. We're everywhere on X, really. Posters always being shared. Same on Facebook, pretty much. But I just, as long as if you're able to come peacefully, air your voice, come see you, John, Kev, Ryan, Josh. That should be good. Should be really good. But like I say, the more the merrier. The bigger we are, the louder the noise. So, aye, it's gotta be good. I say as well, Craig, is I haven't been able to read the comments that's been coming up. Is there one for Joseph Parker been on tonight?
I don't know, mate. There's been thousands.
Well, he's a supporter of you and he watches all the time. He doesn't use social media, but he always watches your channel. I met him on. You had a guy on. It was you, Kev, and was there a guy, an English guy, Nick? It was on.
Nick Buckley? Yeah. He's from Manchester.
Aye. Well, Joe. His name is Joseph on YouTube, but his name is Joe. He commented about the protest in Aberdeen. I was only in the comments that night. I told him, "I come down. We'll maybe see you there." Sure enough, he appeared on Saturday. Came up, found me. He's like, "Oh, I'm the guy that was on YouTube in the comments." So he's a good guy. He's coming on Saturday just to meet you, I think.
Oh, stop it. Well, if he's there, please say hello. And listen, one thing I need to ask you, you made a comment on Twitter. Is there a few of the ladies up there looking forward to seeing your John?
Well, it's been 50-50 between you and John. Like Alex has got
shut up. See if that's even remotely true, mate. You must have a really aging population in North East England, right? North East England, North East of Scotland. Because I kind of get a lot of older women, like my aunt age, that quite like Craig. And I don't think they like it me in that way. They just like to see me as their wee nephew or something, and you're doing well and keep up the good fight sort of thing. I don't think I get many folk thinking I'm particularly attractive, which I'm sure they get with John. We've been about, well, it was John's 40th birthday. Me and Alec were at a fortnight ago.
You and Alec were the eye candy.
12 years on him. Me and Alec were the eye candy. No, he invited us.
You and Alec were the eye candy.
He had his 40th in Aliyah Casino, And I think it was in case he get mobbed and there was too many folk wanting selfies. So he asked me and Alex to be there to be security detail, I think. So turned out didn't need us. Anyway, I'm really looking forward to coming up, mate. I've got a wee thing to do on Friday myself at Co-op, which is taking most of my thoughts now. So I can't wait to get out that door, hopefully before Friday lunchtime, and get myself prepped up and come up. So we'll come up and do a turn, and hopefully what we've got to say people are enjoy hearing, and we'll do as good a job as possible for you, mate. Okay?
Aye, no, it'll be great. Like like I said, it's got these big words. Hopefully, it's bigger than we think. But I mean, everybody's looking forward. Everybody's starting to open their eyes up here now. So, guys like you and John, that's the thing. Because I mean, I didn't even know half the stuff that you guys have showed me. So it's crazy. The more people watching guys like yous on YouTube, your ex, that's how we find out stuff. So it'll be good.
I'll just put up the screen there. That's kind of what I get, right? I've got, and listen, I love it. See some of the old biddies, see some of that generation, right? They're better than us. And I'll tell you why they're better than us. This is probably one of the reasons I thought, you know what, I need to do something. And whether that do something has any effect through my videos, or if I get to Hollywood, I don't know what's going to happen there. If I can get in there and make a wee bit of difference, I'll be delighted. But I kind of think what drives me is, it hit me one day that, like Random's granny, right? They left us in a better situation than they were in their youth. When we were young, we had a better country than they had when they were young. But what we're doing right now is, we're building a love future for the young, and we must be the first generation in modern times to actually and probably ever, right, to hand over the baton of looking after a country in a worse situation than we found it in. And that can't be right. That kind of drives me. And that's why I see with these old biddies, some of them are so strong, so disciplined, so, you know, they've got standards and things that we can only try and achieve. And you know, definitely. I kind of think I've struck a chord with the older ones, because I think they see it as well, that it's gone backwards. And when they see somebody who's a wee bit younger than them, no much, you know, try to do something to help the ones that are younger again. So the ones that are younger, a lot of them don't get it because they can't be bothered, right? They're not interested, but they will be one day. And our job's to make sure that we can get it into a savable position for them, or we've really made a mess of this. And that drives me. That thought and fear drives me, to be fair. Anyway, guys, listen, it's been a fantastic night. We've been at this for over an hour and a half. I can't thank you two enough for sitting through it with me, and to Robert earlier on, who's away doing one of his own podcasts.
It's always a pleasure, big man.
Well, listen, it's great fun. I'm really enjoying these, and there's been over the two platforms, I think there's been over 2,000 people been in at some point watching and taking part. So that's absolutely fantastic. I'm just going to line up, what will I end with the night? I've got a wee bank of short videos here that we can finish with as we're coming up. What have I got? I thought I had one. Oh, I've got one of the ones for Lesbos. So once I click the cheerio button, you'll be treated to a wee couple of 80-second outro video with me and Lesbos, if you've not seen that. So anyway, guys, as I always do, thanks everybody for tuning in. Thanks to the guests that have been here with me throughout, and those that have come up from the audience. It's been fantastic, and that's kind of what I want. I want my show to be on for an hour and a half, and have loads of people coming up that have not got a platform to just get their frustrations out and do that. So thanks very much to everybody. And unless you're the type of person that comes to Britain and cheats, or the type of person in Britain who doesn't actually understand that you're making this place worse with your antics, then not you, but everyone else, have a great day. Cheerio, bye now.